This is just a short introduction to a very important topic, talking about reducing alcohol uh, problems on campus. Of course, reducing alcohol consumption on campus would do a whole lot to reduce alcohol problems on campus. Now, this is from the year 2002, and the reason we're going to be addressing this now in a short way, we're going to have more of this in the future, is that since 2002, which was 23 years ago, not a whole lot has changed on the campuses regarding alcohol problems. They were talking back then about identifying the problems and talking about it. Let's just take a look at the program evaluation, the big picture that we have from them. Newcomers to the topic of college student drinking are often puzzled to learn that the field's knowledge of what works is relatively slim. Apart from some recent and promising interventions aimed at individual students, the conscientious program planner will find little empirical evidence to guide choices of program and policy interventions aimed at the broader college population. The broader field of prevention research, which has examined the impact of programs and policies aimed at youth and the general population, provides useful guidance. Even so, it's clear that evaluations of environmentally focused prevention strategies that focus specifically on college populations are sorely needed. Not only that, and we'll be talking about this in the next few episodes, is that the advertising that the children are experiencing on college campuses is overwhelmingly supporting alcohol use and even supports drug use in the long term. So what we see here is that there's 4 points we're going to talk about changing folks' ways of thinking. So changing people's knowledge, attitudes, and behavioral intentions regarding alcohol consumption. For example, why is someone consuming the alcohol? They're consuming it to get drunk, to become senseless, to become braver or happier. Do they really believe that? Yes, they do. And why do they believe that? And what is the reason that they believe that? It's because it's been reinforced by the advertising and by people telling them all through their lives. They hear it at what's the reason what are you drinking for at the party? They hear parents ask, and it makes them feel more relaxed. It makes them happier. And the reality is that doesn't necessarily follow one on the other. So another point, eliminating or modifying environmental factors that contribute to the problem, and that's going to be a very interesting point we're going to take a look at in a moment. And then we got protecting students from the short-term consequences of alcohol consumption, the health protection or harm reduction strategies, right? So this idea is a little weird because the idea is you let them drink and then you find a way to protect them from raping each other or beating each other up or hurting each other or hurting themselves. So there's a little bit of a disconnect there. We're going to be talking about that. And then finally, intervening with and treating students who are addicted to alcohol or otherwise show evidence of problem drinking. And there you have the main focus that the universities have these days. If they're going to keep the person around who is an alcoholic, they're going to help them just a similar way that they would work in alcoholics, folks would work with Alcoholics Anonymous, etc. So let's see 5 strategic objectives that it came up with in 2002 to deal with this problem and see how it relates to today. Now, the 5 strategic objectives that can be pursued at the institutional level, they consider to be, number 1, offer and promote social, recreational, extracurricular, and public service options that do not include alcohol, check this out, and other drugs. That's a good idea, okay. Number 2, create social, academic, and residential environment that supports health promoting norms. We're using a lot of scientific statements here, a lot of technological jargon. Let's move on from that. Number 3, limit alcohol availability, and that's a sticky point. That is a sticking point. Number 4, restrict marketing and promotion of alcoholic beverages. Oh my goodness, did they actually write that? Yes, they did. They said that. And number 5, develop and enforce campus policies. Turning and looking the other way when someone's crawling along the sidewalk by the campus security, not going to fly anymore. Seeing someone getting drunk or driving drunk and letting them get away with it can't happen. So let's see some of the ways that they were talking from the point of view of state and federal public policy, how to deal with this. College officials should also work for policy change at both the state and federal level, which requires a lot of work, by the way. And you're dealing with, you're starting to combat lobbyists. And there's several potentially helpful laws and regulations that can be considered, including, so this is a very loosely termed, good ideas, right? We're going to talk about them. Later we'll talk about how to actually make them happen. It's going to be a little different than what we're seeing here. But let's go on and see what they were talking about from the very high level. Distinctive and tamper-proof licenses for drivers under age 21. Okay. Number 2, increased penalties for illegal service to minors. Okay. All right. Number 3, prohibition of happy hours and other reduced price alcohol promotions. Now we're getting a little reach there, and I'm all for it, but this is not something, what, should the university be doing that at the local level? The local folks should be doing that. The local villages and towns that are hosting these universities should take into account that it's not a party town just because there's a university there. There are other businesses that can open and do well and prosper other than bars and nightclubs for kids. Number 4, restricted hours of sales, which falls back into the prohibition of happy hours. Oh, prohibition. That word slipped past me. Number 5, reduced density of retail outlets. We're talking about planning and marketing, and I don't know, a little bit out of the scope there, but we'll talk about this separately in another video. So increased excise tax rates on alcohol, and then where does the money go? And now they're making more money at it. They're going to want to sell more, aren't they? They're gonna, yep. Okay, so here in Michigan and many of the states, there are alcohol companies that are run by the states that collect the alcohol revenue for themselves, and it goes in the state coffers. So we have some things to talk about, but I just wanted to bring out the fact that here we go. We've got this reducing alcoholic problems on campus from 2002. It's now 23 years later, and some of the things they were talking about in here, very good ideas. Haven't seen them happen. So we can talk about it and see what's going on in the future. Remember, don't drink and drive. Stay alive. Don't drink on campus. What are you doing in the university anyway? You got an advantage other people around the world don't have. That's something to celebrate all by itself. You don't need to drink beer or alcohol. Okay.